Clarity is the antidote to failure. Most people are not failing in their lives because of a lack of intelligence, talent, or opportunity. They are failing simply because there is no clarity about what they want, why they want it, or how to walk the path they have chosen. Without clarity, even a small step becomes a struggle. With clarity, even the most complex journey becomes a graceful dance. The issue is not about whether life is hard or easy. The issue is that people are walking through life in a fog, trying to find a direction without seeing where they are. Let us understand this. Failure is not something that life throws at you. Failure is a result of your inability to read life as it is. If your vision is blurred, you will stumble. That doesn't mean the road is bad. That means your eyes are not open. Clarity means you are seeing life as it is, not as you wish it to be, not as you fear it to be, but just the way it is. And this simple ability to see things as they are without distortion brings a certain power within you. You stop being reactive. You stop swinging between hope and fear. You become stable, and in that stability you find your true strength. In today's world, we are collecting too much information, but not enough insight. We are stuffing our minds with motivational quotes, success formulas, strategies, and techniques. But there is no clarity about the nature of life, the nature of who we are, and why we are doing what we are doing. When clarity is missing, even effort becomes a burden. You push yourself to do things, but there is no joy, there is no energy, there is no inspiration. When you are clear, your energy flows effortlessly. You don't need motivation because there is a fire within you, a sense of direction that doesn't come from someone's advice, but from your own inner clarity. People often ask, "What should I do to avoid failure?" The answer is not in doing more, but in seeing better. First see clearly, then act. Right now, you are acting blindly and wondering why things are not working. Imagine trying to drive a car in thick fog at high speed, not because you know where you're going, but because someone told you you must go fast to be successful. Naturally, you're going to crash, not because speed is wrong, but because clarity is missing. If you look at truly successful people, not just those who have made money, but those who are deeply joyful, impactful, and centered, you will see one thing in common: clarity. They know what they are doing and why. They don't try to be everything for everyone. They don't chase 10 things at once. They are focused, precise, and sharp in their vision. This doesn't come from the outside. This comes from paying attention inwardly, from sitting with yourself and asking, what is it that really matters to me? What is the direction of my life? If you don't bring this clarity, someone else will give you theirs. And living someone else's clarity is the most painful failure of all. People talk about hard work, discipline, ambition, all these have their place. But without clarity, they are like fuel without an engine. It just burns you out. Clarity is the engine. Once you have that, you can direct your energy wisely. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop trying to please people who don't care. You stop being distracted by every shiny object that comes your way. Clarity brings focus. Focus brings intensity, and intensity creates transformation. Look around and you will see many people who are talented but lost. Intelligent but confused, hardworking but exhausted. It is not because they are lacking something. It is because their vision is blurred. They have not taken the time to look within and understand what their life is about. They are running fast, but in circles, and the faster they run, the more tired and frustrated they become. This is what we call failure. But the root of this failure is not life. It is the absence of clarity. If you can bring clarity into your life, you don't fail, you only forget who you are. This is one of the most fundamental truths of life, yet it is the most overlooked. Failure is not in the events of life. It is in your identification with something that you are not. When you identify with your thoughts, your emotions, your titles, your positions, your achievements, your possessions, you start building a false sense of self. And whenever this identity is threatened or collapses, you feel like you have failed. But in truth, what has failed is not you. What has collapsed is just an illusion you were holding on to. You are not your failures. You are not your successes either. You are something far more profound, far more stable. You are the presence that experiences these ups and downs, not the ups and downs themselves. But the moment you forget this, you start living like a reaction rather than a response. You measure your worth through temporary outcomes. You judge yourself based on how the world sees you. You compare your journey with someone else's path. In all of this, you lose touch with your original nature, and that is the only real failure. Every child is born without a sense of failure. A child falls 100 times before learning to walk, but never calls it failure, because the child is not yet caught up in the psychological drama of success and failure. It simply tries, learns, and grows. But as we grow older, we start accumulating labels: good, bad, successful, worthless, intelligent, stupid. Slowly, these labels become our reality, and once you start believing these labels, your actions begin to reflect them. If you believe you are a failure, you begin to act like one, not because it is true, but because you have forgotten who you really are beyond the label. When you live in forgetfulness of your true nature, you start to seek validation constantly. You want someone to tell you that you're worthy, that you're enough. You become a beggar for appreciation, for approval, for success. And in this endless chase, even when you win, you are afraid of losing. Even when you succeed, you don't feel fulfilled, because deep down you know this success is fragile. It is built on something external, not internal, and anything that comes from outside can be taken away by the outside. Remember, you are not here just to survive or prove something. You are here to express the unique possibility of life that you are. No two human beings are the same. No two flowers bloom in exactly the same way. But when you forget who you are, you try to become a copy of someone else. You wear masks, you put on roles, and then wonder why you feel lost. The truth is, the more you move away from your authentic nature, the more life feels like a burden. The more you live in alignment with who you truly are, the more life flows effortlessly. This is not about doing big things or achieving grand goals. This is about remembering the stillness, the clarity, and the awareness that you are at your core. From that space, whatever you do becomes meaningful. Even the smallest act becomes sacred. You stop living to impress. You start living to express. And when you live like this, there is no concept of failure. There is only learning, evolving, deepening. Life does not fail you. It simply reflects what you are holding within you. If you are full of fear and doubt, life will echo that. If you are full of clarity and trust, life will respond accordingly. But to come to that space, you must look inward. Not in a philosophical way, not to gather more concepts, but to simply become quiet and observe. Watch how you think. Watch how you speak to yourself. Watch how you define yourself. Every time you speak with limitation, every time you tell yourself, I can't, I'm not enough, I failed, you are simply reinforcing forgetfulness. In ancient traditions, they didn't call it failure. They called it sleep, a kind of unconsciousness, and the spiritual path was not seen as a journey to success, but as a journey to awakening. When you awaken, you don't become something new. You remember what you already are. And when you remember that, you move through life with a deep sense of confidence, not arrogance, but a gentle confidence that does not depend on outcomes. You know that even if you fall, you will rise. Even if the world misunderstands you, you are still complete within yourself. You stop living for validation. You start living in truth. You don't fail. You only forget. And the good news is you can remember. Not through effort, not through ambition, but through awareness, through simply being present with yourself moment to moment. When you are fully present, there is no room for the drama of failure. There is only life unfolding moment by moment within you and around you. Inner stability creates outer success. Most people believe that success is something that happens outside a good job, wealth, recognition, power, influence. But these are only the fruits. The root of all meaningful success lies within. Without inner stability, even if the world gives you everything, you will still feel restless, anxious, and unsure. With inner stability, even if life throws challenges at you, you will stand steady, you will move forward, and you will not be shaken. Success that comes from balance is real. Success that comes from chaos is temporary and exhausting. Look at the way people live today. So much activity, so much ambition, so many goals, but inside there is turbulence. If something small goes wrong, they break down. If something doesn't go according to plan, they lose control. This means that the foundation of their success is weak. It is built on the surface. True success is not about controlling everything outside. It is about being unshakable inside, no matter what happens. You can plan and act, but you cannot control life. And if your peace, your joy, and your clarity are dependent on life going your way, then you are always at risk. Inner stability means you are rooted in yourself. Like a tree with deep roots can withstand storms, a human being who is anchored within can face any situation with grace. It does not mean you will never feel pain or never face failure. It means that you will not lose yourself in those experiences. You will not collapse or turn bitter. You will stand tall and move through life with a quiet strength that cannot be shaken by success or failure, by praise or criticism. This kind of stability does not come from information or motivation. It comes from a certain kind of inner work. It comes from knowing how to sit with yourself, how to observe your mind, how to manage your emotions, how to respond rather than react. Right now, most people are reacting to life like puppets. Something happens and they jump. Something else happens and they fall. There is no conscious action. There is no stillness inside. When there is no stillness, there is no space for intelligence to operate. You may be intelligent, but your reactions will make you foolish. You may be capable, but your instability will sabotage your efforts. Look at the most graceful and powerful people you know. They are not the ones who shout the loudest or act the busiest. They are calm, centered, and clear. They may speak softly, but their words carry weight. They may act simply, but their presence itself is powerful. This power does not come from external force. It comes from inner balance. It comes from being in touch with themselves in a deep and honest way. They are not trying to impress. They are simply being who they are. And from that being, their doing becomes impactful. Stability does not mean dullness. It does not mean becoming passive. It means that your actions are no longer driven by fear, anxiety, or ego. They are guided by clarity, by awareness, by purpose. You do not run after success desperately. You move toward it with confidence and calm, and if it comes, you enjoy it without attachment. If it doesn't, you don't collapse. This kind of balance gives you tremendous freedom. You are not tied to outcomes. You are not controlled by the opinions of others. You become your own anchor. Most people spend their lives adjusting the outside, changing jobs, shifting relationships, chasing more money, trying new techniques, all in the hope that something out there will finally bring peace. But it doesn't work like that. Without inner stability, even the best circumstances will become stressful. With inner stability, even the toughest situations can be handled with grace. This is not a philosophy. This is something you can experience if you are willing to turn inward and do the work. Even a bird needs balance to fly. Even a dancer needs stillness within to move with beauty. In the same way, your life needs inner alignment to create outer results. People think success is about movement, about speed, but first, it is about stillness. From stillness, you gain clarity. From clarity, you gain direction. From direction, you gain power. And with power, action becomes meaningful. Without this foundation, your actions are scattered. Your mind is all over the place. Your energy is wasted on unnecessary things, and in that chaos, you lose touch with what really matters. Inner stability is not something you borrow or buy. It is something you cultivate. It comes from self-awareness, from discipline, from a willingness to go beyond comfort and convenience. It comes from knowing who you are, not just on the surface, but deep within. It is not about being in control of everything. It is about being in tune with everything. When you are in tune, you don't fight life, you flow with it. You don't resist, you respond. And that response, born out of inner stillness, is the essence of true success. Stop chasing success. Start aligning with life. Success is not something you need to run after. It is a natural outcome when your energies, thoughts, and actions are aligned with the rhythm of life. The more you chase, the more it runs away. The very idea of chasing creates distance between you and what you seek. It comes from a place of lack, from the feeling that something is missing, something is wrong, and something must be fixed out there. But life is not outside of you. Life is happening within you, and unless you align with that inner process, whatever you achieve will feel hollow. People are constantly in pursuit of some goal, some status, some recognition. They think, once I get there, I will be happy, I will be peaceful, I will be complete. But by the time they get there, the goal has shifted. The mind creates another target, another chase. This is how people spend their whole lives running on a treadmill, exhausted and confused, wondering why the joy never lasts. The problem is not with the goal. The problem is with the direction of your movement. If you are aligned with life, success flows toward you. If you are chasing blindly, even if you catch something, it will not satisfy you. Alignment means you are in touch with your natural intelligence, your inner compass. It means your thoughts, emotions, and actions are moving in the same direction. Most people are torn inside. They want one thing, but they think another, and they do something else entirely. This creates friction, stress, and confusion. In that state, even if you work hard, the results will not be joyful. When there is alignment, you become effortless. You stop struggling. You stop forcing things. You become like a river, flowing with clarity and purpose. You don't need to be pushed. You are pulled by something deeper. Life is not something to conquer. It is something to participate in. But participation is only possible when you are present. When you are chasing success, your mind is always in the future. You are never here, never fully alive in this moment. And if you are not alive now, how can you create something beautiful, something powerful, something meaningful? Everything worthwhile arises from presence. Presence is the doorway to alignment, and alignment is the source of real success. There is a deep intelligence in life. Trees do not chase the sun, yet they grow toward it. Flowers do not strive to bloom, yet they blossom in perfect timing. Birds do not plan their flights, yet they travel thousands of miles with precision. This is not effort. This is alignment. They are tuned in to the rhythm of existence. You, as a human being, have been given the capacity not just to align unconsciously like animals or plants, but consciously with awareness. This is your greatest gift, but also your greatest responsibility. If you misuse this, you will suffer. If you align with it, you will thrive. Chasing success comes from imitation. You see someone doing something, and you want to do the same because it seems to work for them. But what works for someone else may not work for you. Their journey is not your journey. Your path must come from your own clarity, not from comparison. When you live by comparison, you disconnect from your own truth. You become a copy, and copies may succeed in appearances, but they fail in fulfillment. Only authenticity brings peace, and authenticity can only arise when you stop chasing and start listening to yourself, to life, to that silent space within where all true guidance comes from. If you really pay attention, life is always speaking to you. Through your body, your emotions, your instincts, your moments of stillness, life is guiding you. But you are too busy running. You are too busy trying to become something else. Success is not about becoming. It is about unfolding, like a seed that becomes a tree, not by force, but by allowing its nature to express itself fully. This is alignment. This is growth without strain. It is not passive. It is not lazy. It is a deeper kind of action, one that comes from insight, not from insecurity. When you align with life, you begin to see opportunities where others see problems. You respond with grace where others react with fear. You create without desperation. You lead without arrogance. Your work becomes play. Your journey becomes a joy. This does not mean everything will be easy. But even in difficulty, there will be a certain ease within you because you are no longer resisting life, you are flowing with it. This flow brings intelligence, resilience, creativity, and clarity. You start making choices not out of fear of failure, but out of love for what you do. Failure is just life's way of redirecting you. What you call failure is not the end, it is simply a signal that something in your approach, your perspective, or your timing needs to change. Life is intelligent, far more intelligent than our calculations, our plans, or our ambitions. When you align with this intelligence, you begin to see that every setback, every obstacle, every so-called failure is not against you. It is part of the process of aligning you with where you are truly meant to go. But the problem is, most people resist this redirection. They get attached to how they think things should be, and when life doesn't match their expectations, they call it failure. You are not here to force life into your design. You are here to discover the deeper flow of life and move with it. When something doesn't work out the way you wanted, instead of collapsing into self-doubt or anger, ask yourself, what is life trying to show me? What is the lesson? What new possibility is opening up that I have not yet seen? This simple shift in awareness can turn the most painful moments into the most powerful turning points. Because life does not make mistakes. It only responds to your vibration, your focus, your clarity. If the path you've taken is no longer serving your growth, life will intervene, and when it does, don't call it failure, call it guidance. The idea that failure is a negative thing is a social construct. In nature, there is no such thing. A seed that doesn't sprout doesn't see itself as a failure. A river that changes its course doesn't mourn the old path. Only the human mind, trapped in its limited definitions and expectations, sees something not going according to plan as a disaster. But life is not obliged to follow your plan. It has its own intelligence, and when you learn to trust it, you will find that even your detours are filled with meaning. Sometimes not getting what you want is the best thing that could ever happen to you. Because what you want may be limited by your current understanding. What life wants to give you may be far bigger than you can imagine. You see, the path to mastery, to depth, to real success is never straight. It is full of turns, pauses, redirections. Each time you face what you call a failure, you are being refined, your ego is being humbled, your vision is being sharpened, your strength is being tested and deepened. If you never failed, you would never grow beyond your current limits. You would simply become arrogant in your small victories. Failure makes you look deeper, it burns away the superficial, it brings you back to what truly matters. It forces you to ask questions you wouldn't have otherwise asked. And in those questions lies your transformation. Most people are so afraid of failure that they never truly try. They stay in the shallow waters of comfort, where everything is predictable and safe. But there is no growth there, there is no aliveness there. Real life begins where your plans end and something greater takes over. This greater intelligence is not separate from you, it is you in your expanded state. But to touch that, you must be willing to let go of your rigid ideas. You must be willing to trust the unknown. This is where failure becomes your ally. It breaks your certainty, it opens your mind, it clears your path, even if it doesn't look like it at first. The pain of failure comes only when you resist. When you cling to the outcome, when you define your worth based on success, then failure feels like a personal attack. But if you can see it as feedback, as redirection, as a form of guidance, then it becomes a powerful tool. It pushes you to course, correct? It reminds you that you are not here to follow someone else's script. You are here to live your own unique journey, and that journey will not always be smooth. It will challenge you, stretch you, even break you, not to punish you, but to prepare you for something higher. There is a certain beauty in falling and rising again, in trying something, failing, and still finding the strength to continue. This resilience, this courage, this ability to rise is far more important than never falling, because the one who never fails has never truly attempted anything meaningful, but the one who dares, the one who trusts, the one who learns from every fall, that one becomes unstoppable. Not because they are lucky, but because they have learned how to read life's signals. They don't take failure personally, they take it as a necessary part of their refinement. When you start seeing failure as a form of redirection, something shifts within you. You no longer fear it, you welcome it, because you know that every time life closes one door, it is only to open another one that leads you closer to your truth, your purpose, your power. Your mindset is the foundation of your life. Everything you experience, interpret, and respond to is filtered through the quality of your mind. If your mind is cluttered, fearful, reactive, or limited, then even the best opportunities will seem like threats. Even small setbacks will feel like disasters. But if your mind is open, steady, clear, and grounded, then challenges become opportunities, and life becomes a dynamic, unfolding experience rather than a burden. Most people are trying to fix their circumstances without fixing the lens through which they see those circumstances. They are rearranging the furniture in a dark room instead of turning on the light. Mindset is not just about thinking positively. That is a shallow understanding. It is about cultivating a certain inner atmosphere where clarity, balance, and insight naturally arise. It is about mastering your inner chemistry so that external situations don't dictate your inner state. When your mindset is right, success is no longer an accident. It becomes an expression of who you are. You don't have to chase it. It flows out of your clarity, your focus, your actions, and your way of being. And when failure comes, as it does in every life, you don't collapse, you learn, you adapt, you grow. You see, your thoughts are not just random occurrences, they are patterns, habits that you have practiced so long, they feel like who you are. If you constantly tell yourself, I can't, I'm not good enough, what if I fail? Then those thoughts shape your behavior, your energy, your choices. Over time, your life starts reflecting those limitations. But these thoughts are not you. They are only impressions collected from your past, your environment, your conditioning. If you are willing to look at them, question them, and dissolve them, a completely different quality of mind can arise within you. When your mindset is based on possibility rather than limitation, life begins to respond in kind. You see paths where others see blocks. You act when others hesitate. You endure where others give up. This is not magic, it is simply alignment. Your mind is the control panel for your entire life experience. If you don't know how to operate it consciously, you will keep crashing even with the best of intentions. Most people are living on autopilot, reacting to life based on old scripts. They are not creating, they are repeating. The same fears, the same doubts, the same habits, all playing out again and again. The power of your mindset lies in your ability to choose awareness over automation, to pause before reacting, to reflect before deciding, to observe without judgment. When this becomes your habit, your life starts moving with a certain grace. You are not thrown off by every little ripple. You have a core within you that is steady, alert, and responsive. From this core, every action you take becomes intelligent, not impulsive. And this intelligence is the root of effective living. Whether in business, relationships, or personal growth, those who thrive are not the ones with perfect circumstances, they are the ones with refined mindsets. A strong mindset does not mean you never feel fear or doubt. It means you are not ruled by them. You see them, but you don't let them decide for you. You face discomfort, but you don't run from it. You take action even when the outcome is uncertain. You trust the process even when it's slow. This kind of mindset makes you resilient, and resilience is more valuable than talent. It allows you to stay in the game long enough to evolve, long enough to outgrow your own limitations.